after Viaan, I did want to have another child for the longest time, but I had a lot of complications. I suffered with an autoimmune disease called APLA. So I had a couple of miscarriages. So it was a genuine issue. And I didn't want Viaan to grow up as a single child because I'm one of two. And then I said, okay, let's try the surrogacy route. And after 3 attempts, I just given up. I had honestly given up on the thought of another child. I remember there was a kitty going on and these women smirked, and I don't know what it is with people being so insensitive. I remember them very clearly saying, oh my God, isn't that Shilpa Shetty? She still has a weight. And I was barely it was barely 4 months after I had delivered,
So it's Mother's Day, and it won't be wrong to say that one of the yummiest mothers in Bollywood is Shilpa Shetty. I am sorry I'm using the word yummy, but I think she's been called a yummy mummy for the longest time. That's why I introduced her like that. She's an amazing mother to an amazingly happy child. Welcoming Shilpa Shetty Kundra in conversation with Pinkvilla for Dear Mom.
So thank you. Welcome. Now two happy children.
Two happy children now. So I will start off with your mother first. Do you remember? You guys have come on my show and you said that you were a very naughty child. Do you remember the times when you've really, really troubled her to no end? Like she's felt like, oh God.
See, my mom. South Indians are very different from North Indians, and their parenting ways are also very different and very austere in comparison to the Punjabis. I've seen them at close quarters. So and I'm saying that out of experience because when I see my in-laws behave the way they do with my child, I think grandparents are far more forgiving also. But back in the day when we were children, my parents, one look was enough for us to understand that, okay, this is a no-touch zone. I remember once my mom had this precious set of 8 glasses. They were cut glass. Those very heavy, beautiful crystal wine glasses. And I had seen the song Chura Liya Hai Tumne Jo Dil Ko, and the beginning of the song goes tung ta-dung, ta-dung, ta-dung. So I was suddenly very obsessed with this tune. So I took one of those glasses and I took a spoon and I went tung ta-dung and it broke. I was chased around the corridor and the passage of the house. And
but yes, I did get a walloping
after that.
Did you get like a lot?
Back in the day, my mother would take her upper chappal out and hit us. There was a cane if we didn't do, or if we did stuff that she didn't want us to do. Our upbringing was very different and we turned out great.
There was a point of time when you decided to become an actress. How difficult or easy was it to break it to your parents? How welcoming was the idea? How welcoming was your mom with the idea of you becoming an actress?
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but my mom actually is an astrologist and she's not learned the art. She's gifted with it. So one fine day she realized when she was very young, she happened to chance upon someone's horoscope and she was just able to read it. I remember when I was 10, she had told me that I was going to grow up because I lost some very lame competition in school. And she was like, I said, Mama, I'm so ugly because I was really ugly when I was a child. So it's some consolation for some people out there who think they're ugly. Let me tell you, I was very ugly.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I was. I was a black, scrawny kid with a really chappat naak. And I was very tall and lanky. But nothing much has really changed. But
so she knew that you're going to become an actor.
So she said to me when I was 10, she says, don't worry, darling, you are going to turn from an ugly duckling into a swan. I don't know if that was kind of her reiterating that I was an ugly duckling There is a future. Don't be sad. There is a future. Yeah.
But has she been your harshest critic?
Yes, she still is. Like, I would put in so much effort and do something, and if she doesn't like it, I mean, whether it be a hairdo for an event, or try out this really cool sari with a high neck blouse, or like a really like a fashion forward statement, and then she just look at it and she see the picture on Instagram. She's very cool, huh? My mother. She's very like active. She's actually more socially active than even me. So she tell me that, oh, this is disastrous. This is ghastly. She'll say. So she doesn't care.
But I want to ask you, when you actually had Viaan, you were a new mother, right? How often would you go wrong? Were you paranoid as a mother when you had Viaan?
Yes, I was. I was paranoid. I was anal. I was all things that you don't want a mother to be, because when you're a mother at 32, 33, you're like, you want to get it right. And then by which time your mother has been, is over and done with the process like 35 years ago, 33 years ago, and she doesn't remember anything. So when you call her and you ask her anything, at that point she was like, "Arey, it doesn't really matter." And every time somebody would enter the room or the house, even I think douse them with sterilizer. But I'm far cooler and easier in my head with Samisha, I have to admit. Every time Viaan would cry, my God, for the first 5-6 months, or even for the first, I think his entire 2-3 years, I remember I was like a helicopter mom, but I wasn't as bad as some of the other mothers that I see.
But I want to know, when you decided to have Samisha, I actually met you. By then I didn't know, so I couldn't ask you that. But where did this decision stem from? Like, when did you decide?
No, I mean, after Viaan, I did want to have another child for the longest time, but I had a lot of complications. I suffered with an autoimmune disease called APLA, and that came into play every time I'd get pregnant. So I had a couple of miscarriages. So it was a genuine issue. And I didn't want Viaan to grow up as a single child, because I'm one of two. And I know how important it is to have your own sister. Even if we fight like cats and dogs, I know at the end of it all, she's going to be my rock of Gibraltar in my lowest phase, if ever. So I just think that, coming from that thought, I did explore other ideas as well, but that didn't pan out well. At a time that I wanted to adopt, I remember I had even put in my name. Everything was underway, and then that Christian missionary only shut down because they got into a tiff with Kara. So I'd waited for nearly 4 years, and then I was so irritated. And then I said, okay, let's try the surrogacy route. And after 3 attempts, I just given up. I had honestly given up on the thought of another child. Because Viaan is going to be 8 now, this month. So I was like, gosh, now, you don't want to go through the gamut of things all over again. And I was blessed again.
Who decided on the name? Oh, you had already planned? Like,
I'm taking full credit.
Did you keep 2-3 names, like a boy's name, a girl's name, and stuff like that?
Yes, we did. We did have a couple of options even for the boy, and we had a couple of options for the girl, if we had a girl. And I think Viaan and me just manifested a girl. And I'm a huge Sai Bhakt, and every year for the last 3 years, when we go to Shirdi, Viaan stands in front of the deity and would fold his hands and say, Sai, I want a baby sister. And he'd not even say, a baby. He'd say a baby sister. He was very, very clear. And I always wanted a girl.
Of course.
And it just manifested with Samisha. And when I was 19, I had thought of Samisha as a name. So it actually is derived from Saw means saw, 100, and Misha means prayer, so 100 prayers. Oh. And I had coined this name like then. And then when I told my husband, he was like, this is too complicated, and he's British, so he's like, it has to be an easy name. So then we called her Samisha, and it just worked out because Sa in Sanskrit means like,
like
a
prayer.
Yeah. So like God, so you're like a prayer, like even Misha is also God, like someone like God. Okay. So it just worked out well, and it's just beautiful.
I want to know, how did Viaan react to Samisha in the first few days? Like, he of course wanted a sister. How excited was he? Is he paranoid about the kid?
He's 7, so we had a surrogate, so he didn't see me pregnant. So he was very curious to understand how has the baby come without, first I tried to lie to him saying that, no, the baby is in my stomach. How do you explain to a 7-year-old? And then obviously I had my own explanation and we concocted this story. And then we kind of broke it to him that today the baby is going to be born, and he was waiting outside. And when he saw the baby come out, he was just in shock, because he insisted. We woke up at some unearthly hour at 4 a.m, and he insisted that he wanted to come with us to the hospital. So he was there. And then obviously we were not allowed to touch the baby because she was in the NICU she was slightly premature. So he saw that entire process, and I just realized that, how much he longed for Samisha to be in his life. And the first time when we put Samisha on his lap, it was so priceless. That expression was so priceless. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it is true. It is true. On that note, we'll move on to our next segment, which is called Up Close and Personal. So, Shilpa ma'am, you have always maintained a perfect hourglass figure. And that is what people have always looked at you with. I think you have been the fitness icon for years, even before fitness was a term used every day. I want to know, when you went, when you embraced motherhood and you gained that baby weight, baby fat, there was a lot of talk, not just with you, with a lot of actresses, like with Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, with you. A lot of criticism had come in terms of body shaming. What went through your mind that time? Did that bog you down? And what would you like to say to people who do that?
I'm sorry, who are these people who are being so judgmental? I want to know, and I want to see how they look post-pregnancy, So, but I guess each to their own, it's part and parcel of being a celebrity, and it did affect me. I can just admit to that much, because for me, I was known as the bod, fortunately or unfortunately. But after Viaan, I looked like a heathen, and I was like, I was overweight by some 32 kilos. I've talked about this many a times. And it's then when I realized that if I had to let go of myself, which I did during my pregnancy, I should have ideally put on like 15 kilos, but I put on 32 kilos. And then after the baby came out, I put on 2 more kilos. I don't know doing what. Eating panjiri and I don't know, having satavareks, and I mean, it was ridiculous. So I remember back in the day, when my husband took me out, firstly, I didn't fit into any clothes. I was still wearing my pre-pregnancy, pants with those elastics, and I got some oversized shirts, and I also took some of my husband's shirts, by the way, just now the cat's let out of the bag, because I didn't fit into any of my clothes. So the white shirts of his, I remember wearing and folding the sleeves. I thought I looked pretty cool, so he took me out for the first time, and I remember there was a kitty going on, and these women smirked, and I don't know what it is. with people being so insensitive. I remember them very clearly saying, "Oh my God, isn't that Shilpa Shetty? She still has a weight." And I was barely it was barely 4 months after I had delivered, And I was just happy, and I was just enjoying my phase because I'd worked all my life. Saying that I kind of let go of myself, and it made me realize that when people see you as a certain like a celebrity, you're like a monkey in the zoo.
True.
And they obviously, if you see a monkey that's not well kept, you're going to comment. And it's sad, but that's one aspect of it. But there are so many pros, Nayan. There are so many pros that my attention can't go to just the cons. So yeah, it was heartless for them to do that, but it was also a good wake-up call for me to realize that it is time that I focused on myself as well, and for my own health. And I think the realization kind of dawned upon me when my mom, who didn't make any bones, told me that how long are you going to take now to lose this weight? It only takes a mother to do that, to birth the baby. Yeah, happy Mother's Day, Mom.
But you took a voluntary break from films, and did that decision hurt at any given point, because you are working around the clock, and for you to take a break at that point, was it difficult to take that decision?
See, my mom was a working woman, and she always said to me that you have the luxury of time, and for us it was a luxury.
True.
So she couldn't afford to take out that much time, because obviously they had to make ends meet. I came from a middle class family that slowly climbed up and became an upper middle class family. But they worked so hard to give us the best life, the best schooling, the best education, extracurriculars. I just feel that today we all as individuals have choices, especially the women out there. It's a far more egalitarian world. I was very clear that for the first 7 years of my, first child's life, I wanted to be a hands-on mom. And I intend on doing that even with Samisha. Because I think that phase is the most important phase in your child's life. With Samisha, it was kind of unplanned, because we were planning it for the longest time and it didn't happen then. And then in the year that I decided I was going to do 2 films and I was going to finish with Nikamma, I got this piece of news. And with pregnancies, you never know, because something could go wrong.
True.
And then I was offered Hangama, which again was supposed to be over and done with. They were both films that were going to be finished. And something happened and Nikamma got delayed. And then Hangama got slightly more delayed. And it was a mess, my diary. And I got to know that, this pregnancy is actually going to happen. And lo and behold, there was a lockdown. So it's all destined.
Sure.
So this child had come with the destiny of having this time with me. So from the time she's born, I'm stuck to her.
Which is nice.
So,
but does that
3
also...
months.
Yeah, sorry, you were saying something.
No, so it's amazing. So now, consciously, I know I'm going to reduce a bit of my work, and you have to pace it out. So, it's back to the grind now. I will obviously be picking and choosing what I want to do, because I want more time with both my kids.
When things get written about you, does it affect your family, especially your mother, a lot? And also, when things get written about your kids, if it ever is, or if the paparazzi crosses a line, does that affect you and anger you? Because nobody has seen you angry much.
I do have a temper. I'm a Shetty. So when it comes to bad press and yellow journalism, it's just stuff that, like I said to you, what can't be cured has to be endured. And there are so many pros when you're a celebrity, when you are famous. and there's so much love that you garner. At least for me, I can say very safely that I have received a lot of love from people, and constantly, and for time immemorial. Even when I didn't do movies, you know, Nayan. So when people write rubbish, and some of them sometimes are actually writing the truth, and you just have to be brave, and yeah, just face it. And then there's sometimes they write absolute nonsense with an absolute figment of their imagination, and you're like, chalo, inka ghar to chal raha hai iske upar. So you just give them the benefit of doubt, or maybe the benefit of a livelihood.
That is true. But thank you for this lovely conversation. It is always lovely to talk to you, and there will never be a single segment of mine that will not have you.
Oh, I love you, Nayan. You take care. Happy
Thank
cooking,
you.
and happy Mother's Day to everyone. Love
Happy
you guys.
Mother's Day to you as well.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.